Picture Europe in the early 1900s, a powder keg waiting for a spark. After Napoleon's defeat, the Concert of Europe kept the peace for decades, balancing power between kings and empires. But by 1914, that harmony was a distant memory. Why? 4 words: militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism, or Maine. Nations stockpiled weapons. Secret treaties wove a deadly web. Empires clashed over colonies. And nationalism lit fires in the hearts of millions, especially in the restless Balkans. This wasn't just a war waiting to happen. It was a collision course. Europe was split into 2 armed camps, like rival gangs ready to brawl. On one side, the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. On the other, the Triple Entente, France, Russia, and Britain. These pacts, like the Franco-Russian Alliance or the Anglo-Russian Entente, were meant to keep peace through strength. Instead, they turned Europe into a house of cards one push, and it'd all collapse. Germany's rise after 1871 didn't help. When Prussia unified Germany and snatched Alsace-Lorraine from France, it left a grudge that burned for decades. Europe wasn't just tense, it was a ticking time bomb. Now, zoom into the Balkans, Europe's Wild West. The Ottoman Empire was crumbling, leaving a vacuum of power. The Balkan League, Serbia, Montenegro, Greece, and Bulgaria kicked the Ottomans out in the First Balkan War of 1912. Victory. But then they turned on each other in the Second Balkan War, redrawing maps with treaties like Bucharest in 1913. Peace? Hardly. Austria-Hungary's 1908 annexation of Bosnia and Herzegovina enraged Serbia, who dreamed of uniting all Slavs. The Balkans weren't just unstable, they were a lit fuse. June 28, 1914. Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to Austria-Hungary's throne, and his wife Sophie are gunned down by Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old Bosnian Serb tied to the Black Hand, a shadowy nationalist group. Their dream? A Slavic state free from Austrian rule. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany's blank check of support, issues Serbia an ultimatum designed to be rejected. Serbia says mostly yes, but not quite. That's enough. Austria declares war. Russia backs Serbia. Germany declares war on Russia, then France. Germany's Schlieffen Plan kicks in, invading neutral Belgium to outflank France. Britain, bound to protect Belgium, jumps in. In weeks, a single shot in Sarajevo ignites a global firestorm. This wasn't just Europe's fight. Japan joined the Allies, snapping up German colonies in the Pacific. Italy, lured by promises of land, ditched the Triple Alliance for the Allies in 1915. The Ottoman Empire, siding with the Central Powers, called a jihad to rally Muslims against the Allies. Bulgaria jumped in, hungry to reclaim lost territories. On the Eastern Front, Germany crushed Russia at Tannenberg in 1914. But Russia's real enemy was itself. Revolution was brewing. By 1917, the Bolsheviks seized power and signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, bailing out of the war and leaving the Allies in a bind. The Western Front? A nightmare of trenches, barbed wire, and mud. Battles like Verdun and the Somme in 1916 became meat grinders, with millions dead from mere yards of ground. At sea, Germany's U-boats sank anything that moved, enraging neutral nations. The 1915 Gallipoli campaign, meant to open a supply route to Russia through the Dardanelles, was a disaster. Allied troops were slaughtered, and the plan collapsed. This war wasn't just brutal, it redefined horror. Across the Atlantic, America tried to stay neutral. Then, in 1915, a German U-boat sank the RMS Lusitania, killing 128 Americans. Shockwaves? But the real game changer? The 1917 Zimmermann telegram. Germany proposed an alliance with Mexico to attack the U.S. if America entered the war. Britain intercepted it, decoded it, and showed it to President Wilson. The U.S. was livid. On April 6, 1917, America declared war, tipping the scales toward the Allies. By 1918, Germany was desperate. Their spring offensive aimed to crush the Allies before American troops arrived in force. It gained ground but fizzled out. German soldiers, starving and exhausted, began to surrender. Morale collapsed. On November 11, 1918, at exactly 11 a.m., an armistice silenced the guns. The Great War was over. In America, we honor this day as Veterans Day, a tribute to those who endured the unendurable. The 1919 Treaty of Versailles was meant to secure peace, but planted seeds of chaos. Germany was forced to pay crippling reparations, stripped of land, and limited to a tiny army. The League of Nations was born to prevent another war, but lacked teeth. New nations like Poland and Czechoslovakia rose from the ashes, while colonial rivalries, like the Morocco crisis, showed the war's global reach. And one obscure soldier, Adolf Hitler, a messenger on the Western Front, was watching his future ambitions shaped by this war's scars. World War I wasn't just a war, it was the end of empires, the birth of new nations, and a tragic prelude to an even darker chapter.